Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
Hey fellas, guess what? If you're struggling with fatigue, forgetfulness, a lack of focus, allergies, constant colds, constipation, diarrhea, excess flatulence, gas, weight gain or bloating, you definitely need to give this episode a listen. Having a healthy gut isn't just about having a six-pack and only having 6% body fat. Listen, we all want flat stomachs, right? But the road to get there isn't always that easy. And when it comes to gut health, it's more than just having a great physique. You can't out-exercise poor gut health, folks. I'm telling you, even though consistent exercise can help to improve your health. That's why in today's episode, I want to continue this series on men's health. You're going to learn how the health of your gut impacts more than just your physique. We're going to even talk about how diet and exercise work together to improve your overall health. So I really suggest that you stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. You don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Welcome to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in, no matter where you are in the world, whether you're in Africa, Asia, Europe, no matter where you are, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to give a big shout out to my followers on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, those who tune in each week to listen to this podcast. I really appreciate all of your support. Continue to write in, submit your questions, and I'm here to answer those questions to the best of my ability. Listen, I'm a guy that used to be 268 pounds. I know what it is to be overweight, to have a 40 plus inch waist and not know what tomorrow is going to look like in terms of my health. I was able to reverse type 2 diabetes in less than a year. I was able to get off all medications as prescribed by my doctor, and I feel great. But you know what? I remember a time when I kept gaining weight, and the more weight I gained, the more terrible I felt. Listen, folks, I know a lot of you may be out there in the same situation. Maybe you were recently diagnosed with prediabetes or even full-blown type 2 diabetes. And you're wondering like, man, what's going to be my future? What does my future look like? Well, you know what? I don't want you to give up. I definitely don't want you to cave in, and I don't want you to quit. Listen, folks, you may be taking medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes, and you're concerned about your overall health. Maybe you're dealing with other chronic illnesses and things are really stressing you out right now. Listen, if you want to eventually be weaned off medication, I believe it's possible in many situations. Of course, any advice that I give or any recommendations that I give, I want you to consult your physician. Health and nutrition is so nuanced. There is no one quick fix that applies to everybody. That's why it's important for you to dial in your own health to know what's going on in your body and know what it takes to fix your current issues. Listen, we all want to live healthy, and getting there may not be easy, but it's possible. So let's dive into this episode, From Gut Belly to Gut Health, Part 1. That's right. This is a 2-part series. It may end up being 3 parts. Who knows? On this very topic of gut health and what it means to achieve good health for us men. This is a part of my men's health series because you know what? Each year during the month of June, I focus on men's health. June is Men's Health Month here in the United States. I cover a whole range of topics, including myths surrounding men and why certain men neglect their health, I give advice for the ladies in our lives and how they can best approach the conversation when it comes to discussing health matters with the men in their lives. So whether you are a husband, a father, a son, an uncle, or maybe a loved one of a very significant man in your life, this episode and this series of episodes is really going to be life-changing. So let's get into this week's episode. Again, from gut belly to gut health, part 1. Muscle cars with bad engines. Have you all ever seen the movie series Fast and Furious with Vin Diesel and a bunch of other characters, Tyrese Gibson, The Rock, and so forth? Well, Vin Diesel, if you've followed the series, you know that he really loves muscle cars. I mean, there's been all kinds of muscle cars featured in the movies, like the 1970 Dodge Charger RT, the 1967 Ford Mustang Fastback, or the 71 Plymouth GTX. I mean, you're talking about beautiful cars, nice built cars. I mean, you're talking about muscle cars that people love. Well, you know what? Imagine having a nicely built muscle car, right? Expensive. That thing is shiny. I mean, from front end to back end, beautiful. But imagine a beautiful car, beautiful muscle car with a engine that's shot. It can be great on the outside, but on the inside, the engine is all messed up. Well, when you think about gut health and having a big gut, a lot of us guys, we focus a lot on getting rid of our gut. Some people may say they have a gut belly or a beer belly, and they really want to get rid of that gut. So you have guys who are lifting a whole bunch of weights and they're doing a whole bunch of crunches because, you know what, man, I want to get rid of this stomach. I want to build muscle and so forth. So they focus on the outward appearance. They focus on the bulkiness. They want to build bulk and be like the muscle cars, looking great on the outside. But you know what, guys? Let's pause for a second. You can look like a nice muscle car, if you will. You can build all this mass, but what if you have poor health? Do you really know what's going on in your body? Have you been going to the doctor regularly to know exactly what's going on the inside? Hopefully you are. When I go to the gym, I see all kinds of people from all walks of life, all shapes, all sizes, and age ranges. Everyone has their own personal reasons for working out. In the gym sometimes, especially in the locker room or out on the workout floor, I overhear guys talking about how much bulk they're trying to put on. They stand in front of the mirror. Sometimes it's really funny. Like these group of guys are just standing in the mirror with their shirts off and they're just like literally comparing their bodies with each other. Is kind of interesting. But in any case, they talk about loading up on carbs and protein and how much weight they're able to bench nowadays and how much they're able to squat and deadlift and all these other things that they're just really, trying to do. They're trying to build up all these muscles. They want to start looking like the Hulk, right? But you know what? With some of these guys, they look huge, they're big, they look like the Hulk, they look like Hulk Hogan, they look like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day. But guess what? Some of them have huge guts still. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Others may even have flat bellies and they stand in front of the mirror shirtless to show off their six-pack abs. I mean, that's great, right? Unfortunately, some of those guys also admit to having high blood pressure and experiencing so much stress at work. So again, you can be like that muscle car, looking great on the outside, but what's going on the inside? Folks, I'm not knocking any guy or any man who wants to bulk up because, maybe they're competing, for in a bodybuilding competition or whatnot. That's great. But I don't want us and I don't want any guy to get lost in the aesthetics and not realize that, you know what? I need to focus in on what's going on the inside. Now, to the everyday guy, to the average guy who's not trying to bulk up, like me, I'm not trying to bulk up. I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. I'm not trying to do any of that. I want to maintain lean body mass. I want to build lean muscle. I don't want to become this huge bodybuilder, but I want to maintain a healthy weight. I do like the fact of having a flat stomach, having less than 15% body fat, 13% would be great. 12% would even be great, but for us everyday guys who aren't trying to bulk up, and even those who are trying to bulk up, I don't want us to forget the fact that our internal health is more important than how we look on the outside. We often hear about the importance of building huge muscles and having a six pack. And some people think that those are indicators of good health. But again, folks, it's not just what is happening on the outside. It's not about having, these big arms and, these flat stomachs and, having these strong legs. Is also about what's happening on the inside. I need to drive that point home. I do want to talk about, the thing that's very, very crucial, and that's your gut health. Hence the title of today's episode, From Gut Belly to Gut Health. When it comes to our gut health, we have to focus on, okay, what's going on with the belly fat? What's going on with the fat that's causing our stomachs to bulge out? And how does that relate to our internal health? What's really going on internally? Not just with the belly fat that we just pinch and we feel, but what's going on the inside. You see, let's break this down for a second. When it comes to belly fat, there's two types of fat, right? There's visceral fat. That's the fat around our organs. And there's also subcutaneous fat. That's the fat that's just below the surface of the skin. That's that fat that you feel when you pinch your stomach, when you pinch those love handles. That's your subcutaneous fat. But again, visceral fat is specifically that belly fat that's around your organs. That's not the fat that you can just easily feel, right? A lot of times people focus on that fat that they can feel, that they can pinch, but ignore the fat that's on the inside, not realizing that visceral fat can lead to serious health issues like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even some cancer. Have you guys ever watched the TV series by Bear Grylls? It was called Survival, I believe it was. There's these groups of people that they get dropped off at these remote islands, and they have to survive for, weeks on end. They have to find their own food. They have to find water sources and so forth, and basically live until it's time for them to be pulled off the island or rescued, if you will. So a couple of times that I've watched the series, one of the biggest things that you find or that you see in any episode is at the beginning, finding a water source, a healthy water source is very important. I mean, finding water before finding food is like paramount. I remember one episode, there was a group searching for water and they stumbled upon this like swamp, and the swamp had a bunch of water in it, and these people were dehydrated. And then they're like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and get some of this water. We'll build a fire and we'll purify the water. And then as one person was like, hey, I don't think we should drink this water because, it looks putrid. It smells bad. And I think even boiling it is really going to be dangerous. But everybody's dehydrated. So nobody's really listening to this one person say, don't drink the water, and that we should go find another source of water. Because I think it had been like over 24 hours or more since they've last had a good drink of water, if you will. And so long story short, they decided to fill their canisters from this swamp anyway, right? And they said, okay, we'll just head back to the camp and we'll boil the water. So guess what? As you can imagine, even after boiling the water, they went to drink the water. It still smelled bad, but they're like, hey, we're going to die if we don't drink something. So they drank it. And guess what? By the next morning, everybody was sick who drank the water. I mean, they were vomiting. They had bad cases of diarrhea. I mean, oh my God. So another group decided, hey, you know what? We're not going to drink that water. We're going to go find a better source of water. And they actually did stumble upon like a stream. It was a flowing stream of spring water and so forth. So where am I going with this? You have two water sources, right? Two environments of water. One was a breeding environment of deadly bacteria, and the other one had healthy fresh water that still needed to be boiled, but one led to sickness, vomiting, diarrhea, severe headaches, and so forth. And the other one, it was safe to drink. They just simply still needed to boil the water and kill whatever bacteria was in that spring water, right? So we're talking about contamination and decontamination. Water that's putrid, and an environment that's very putrid, that's just a cesspool of bad bacteria and so forth, versus another water source and another environment of good water that was healthy to drink, but still needed to be purified. So where am I going with this? You can probably imagine. We're talking about gut health, right? Your gut environment determines your health. Bottom line. You see, what you put in your body and how your body digests that food or drink or medicine, antibiotics, etc., affects your health. So within your body, in your gut, there is an environment. What's going on in that environment? Is there a bunch of bad bacteria, or is the good bacteria really thriving? What's going on in your body? Because see, folks, believe it or not, what you put in your body can lead to high gut inflammation or low gut inflammation. It can lead to diarrhea or regular bowel movements. What you put in your body can either lead to weight gain and insulin resistance, which, by the way, could potentially lead to obesity and type 2 diabetes, or what you put in your body can help you maintain good and healthy weight. Again, it all depends on what's going on with the environment within your gut. So what you're putting in that environment can determine your health, your gut health. The environment of your gut will determine your health. So just keep all that in mind. And now let's talk about the human anatomy for a second. And I want you guys to follow me because this is very, very important. Remember, we're talking about gut belly. We're talking about gut health, and more than just the aesthetics. We're talking about what's going on inside your body, right? Because it's more than just getting rid of that, beer belly. It's about maintaining good internal health. Okay, what is the gut? When we think about the gut, we think about our stomachs mostly, but our gut actually refers to our digestive tract. It starts with the stomach, through the small intestine, large intestine, which is your colon, down to the anus. Okay, when it comes to digestion actually starts in the mouth. The thought of food and even the smell of food makes your mouth water. You know what I'm talking about. Your entire digestive system is preparing itself to process food. You know how your body breaks down food and extract nutrients and minerals is fascinating in itself. Digestion is an automatic process, right? That we don't even have to think about. It just happens. We're not even conscious of it. It just simply happens on a regular basis. Now, normal digestion includes what's called transit time and retention time of food. So basically, when we eat something, how long is it taking for that food to pass through our intestines and so forth? How much of that food are we retaining? If food is moving too fast or too slow, that can lead to certain challenges. So we want to have a healthy digestion. Now, when it comes to your gut and inside your gut, there are bugs. Did you even know that there are bugs living in your gut? They're called gut flora or gut bacteria, or even the human microbiome. Now, I'm getting a little researchy here for you, or a little technical here for you, just so I can paint a picture of what goes on in each of our bodies, or at least what should be going on in our bodies. Gut bacteria or gut flora or the human microbiome, they're very essential for regulating our immune system, metabolizing cholesterol and metabolizing hormones, and so much more. But what happens when there's an imbalance or there's a disruption of the good bacteria or the good flora? That's when health challenges occur. And that disruption is called a disruption of life or a dysbiosis. Studies have shown that chronic imbalance of gut health can lead to inflammatory bowel disease, thyroid disease, rheumatoid arthritis, allergies, asthma, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other issues. When it comes to your gut health, folks, there's so many things that we need to make sure that we are aware of. Remember, what we're putting in our bodies affects our health. Our digestion is very important. So that's why I try to stress to guys that it's very important that you don't just focus on developing a six-pack and developing muscles, but you have to know what's going on in your body. You want to make sure that you have good health when it comes to your gut. Because folks, I don't know about you, but there's been times where if I eat the wrong food, it not only makes me just feel bad, it may make me feel sluggish, it may cause some just discomfort and so forth. But it can, it can really hold you down. It can really mess things up. I mean, I've run races or I've gone running and just have not felt my best if something was going on in my gut, if something was just not feeling right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about, more than just having diarrhea or just an upset stomach. I'm just talking about, man, you know how it is when you just are not feeling your best. And so that's why choosing the right approach to healing your gut is very important. Now, again, remember, when there's an imbalance of gut health, it can lead to all kinds of complications. I mentioned them earlier: asthma, allergies, arthritis, obesity, depression, anxiety, and some other issues. But let me say this. There is no single method to use to heal your gut. There is no single pill or supplement to heal your gut. Folks, because health is so individualized, because health is so nuanced, it's important for us not to think that there's just one fix for everything that we're dealing with. Don't just focus on treating IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Don't just focus on treating constipation. Don't just focus on treating bloating or brain fog. These could just be symptoms of an overarching situation that's going on in your body. That's why I recommend that you develop an overall lifestyle of health and fitness, because you know what, folks? Yeah, you can say, I'm dealing with constipation. Let me take a laxative. But the constipation may be a result of something else that's going on in your body. So just taking a laxative is not going to really address the issue. If you're dealing with excess gas or bloating or brain fog, just taking a supplement or a pill to treat that symptom is not the main way to really get down to the underlying issue. You can find yourself popping all kinds of pills and taking all kinds of supplements to deal with your symptoms. But at the end of the day, you don't want to treat the symptoms alone. You want to treat the underlying cause. I want to drive that home. So again, I want you to start considering your entire lifestyle. of your diet and your exercise. Now, many of you may have to go see a nutritionist. You may have to go see an endocrinologist. You may have to go do a deep dive with your doctor and see exactly what's going on with your body to know exactly what you specifically need to do to get back on track when it comes to your health. I remember when I was dealing with type 2 diabetes and on meds, my doctor, unfortunately, really just emphasized me taking medication. And he just said, yeah, do your best to lose weight and so forth. So I didn't get the full help that I needed from my physician, but I had enough in me to want to do the research and find out exactly what I needed to do to improve my health. And I'm glad I did. And really, to be honest, it was my diet. I changed how I was eating and I cut back on a lot of foods and a lot of things actually that I eliminated. And those things that I eliminated and changing my lifestyle really made a big difference. So when it comes to your lifestyle and your choices, let me ask you a couple questions. Do you regularly consume alcohol? If so, how much and how often? Do you know the impact that alcohol is having on your health? Yes or no? Are you under lots of stress at work? Are you traveling a lot? And because of the demands of your work, you're constantly under a lot of pressure. And that pressure is affecting your sleep. Is that what's going on in your situation? Are you regularly experiencing a lack of sleep? Now, I used to be a workaholic. I used to get probably 4 hours of sleep at night, just constantly going. And guess what? I gained a lot of weight. I was stressed out a lot and dealt with headaches and so forth. And all kinds of things were going on. And it was right around that time that I developed type 2 diabetes. So that's something to consider. Now, what about food? How much processed food are you eating on a regular basis? I mean, from processed meats like sausages and so forth to pastries. What about processed dairies and other processed foods? What about sugar, soda and sugar sweetened beverages? How much of that are you drinking on a daily basis? Are you constantly drinking soda with every meal? Are you constantly drinking fruit juices with every meal? Are you consuming a lot of sugar sweetened beverages without even paying attention, without even realizing it? That's something to think about, because all those things, the processed foods, the alcohol, and so forth, the lack of sleep, stress, the sugar sweetened beverages, all those things can have an effect on your gut health and probably could be making it difficult for you to maintain good gut health. Now, what about exercise? How much or how little are you getting on a regular basis? Are you very sedentary, meaning you're not moving around as much? Maybe you're just tired and you just don't feel like exercising. Exercising becomes a chore. Well, you know what, folks? There are steps to address all the things that you're dealing with. There are steps that you can take when it comes to taking the right approach to healing your gut and improving your overall health. Now, here are the steps. Now, this is not the only steps that you should take, but here are some key steps that I do recommend that you take. We have to address inflammation and the foods that may cause a flare-up of inflammation in your body. That's number one. Number two, you want to improve the integrity of your gut lining, your gut wall, because there's a thing called leaky gut. And I won't go into that in this episode, but if the lining of your gut wall is what's called permeable, if it's leaking, it could lead to certain challenges and certain diseases and so forth. Number three, it's important to focus on supporting your digestive organs, your liver, even your brain, your pancreas, and so forth. Those things are very important. Number four, you want to get to the point where you restore healthy gut bugs your gut flora that we talked about. Restoring healthy gut bugs is very important and is possible. Detoxifying. Yes, number 5, detoxifying and going on a detox is a key to addressing health concerns. Because you know what? Our bodies could be full of a bunch of toxins because of things that we've eaten and the things that we've been exposed to that's really causing a lot of headaches and other things that we're experiencing, especially when it comes to our gut health. Number 6, very important. You want to get to the point where you're making healthy food choices and making eating healthy foods a part of your life, and it's your lifestyle. Number 7, make healthy exercise choices. You know what, folks? Exercise is very important. Eating healthy food is very important. You should have a good balance of the two. You know, folks, there's so much I want to deal with. And in this one episode, I can't go over every single thing. Again, talking about addressing inflammation, your gut lining, your digestive organs and supporting your digestive organs, restoring your healthy gut bacteria, your healthy gut flora, detoxing, including fasting. We're going to talk about that. You know, making healthy food choices and making healthy exercise choices. There's so much to cover. That's why I wanted to have a 2-part episode where I can at least lay the foundation for you when it comes to your gut health. And in the next episode, in part 2, I will delve even deeper into these steps, especially incorporating good nutrition to heal your gut. So folks, it's really important for you to stay tuned, to really plug in. I wanted this episode to be one where it just got you thinking about, man, I really need to focus on my gut health. What are some things that I need to begin thinking about? And also getting to the point of taking my health serious enough to pay attention to my gut health. There's so many things that you may be dealing with that are tied to your gut health. So again, from gut belly to gut health is more than just about losing weight, is more than just about getting a flat stomach and having 6-pack abs. Folks, what's going on inside is very important. In the next episode, we're going to delve deeper into this topic of gut health. Before you take another laxative to get rid of constipation, before loading up on a bunch of fiber snack bars that you saw in some ad, before trying some new cleanser that you heard about on TikTok or some other social media platform and end up doing more damage than good, I want you to tune in to the next episode. We're going to discuss proper digestion of food and what's supposed to happen when we eat. You know, how long does it take for food to digest anyway? Again, chronic constipation, gas, diarrhea, bloating, having low energy, brain fog, dealing with a bunch of forgetfulness. Folks, that should not be the marker of how we live our life and what we're experiencing. Many of us focus too much on the size of our stomachs and very little on our gut health and our digestive system. Until next time, my friends, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.